love Ben Carson or if you love Carly Fiorina.
Yeah, you got it right.
Mike taught me how to say it. Fiorina. No matter which one that you really want, tonight we're going to hear Carly. And the reason is we have been made access to a video of her speech up in Mackinac. But here's the reason I'm willing to do it. I want us, and if you have something to write on or if you can commit your memory to it, when she speaks about a policy or a position that she has, I want you to compare that to your favorite person, if it's Ben or if it's Donald. I like using first names, it makes me feel important.
Or Ted.
Or Ted.
Or Jeb.
Jeb.
I'm kidding.
If it is, me too. Well, really not.
Well, yeah, true.
I want you to write down how their view would contrast to the policies or the view of the thing you may hear from Carly. My suspicion is, and I told Denise this, and this is the reason I'm willing to show one, and I'll show the others. If we can get them, I'll show them. I don't think positionally there's that much difference in the top four. When we go from Jeb down, okay, it's all off. But the top four, I don't think you're going to be able to demonstrate a philosophy difference or a position difference. Now, so what this becomes is a credibility issue, right? If what I said is true, it becomes a credibility or an electability. With Donald Trump, you all know that I don't believe he's credible because I don't think he means what he says. I think he says what he wants us to hear.
Yep.
I think that's what it is. Now, it offends some people because some of you really like Donald Trump. Well, I don't. I'm sorry to offend you. The reason that I support Carly Fiorina is not because she's better than some of the others, which I personally think she can accomplish something. And I told you folks before that the 12th Amendment in this Constitution that we live by, we say we're constitutional conservatives, and if you say that, you better live by it, which means you can't support Ted Cruz. You go ahead and support Ted Cruz. If you think you're a constitutional conservative because he violated the provisions of the Advice and Consent Clause. And so did everyone who voted for the Corker Amendment. Okay, that's my position. You don't have to agree. But what I'm saying is, Carly Fiorina can keep us out of the 12th Amendment. This 12th Amendment is a thing where when a candidate cannot get 270 electors, it goes into the 12th and the House determines the president and the Senate determines the vice president. The way that can happen is a third-party candidate, any third-party candidate, who gets 3 electors.
Right.
It only would take 3 because I want to paint this picture for you. I did, but some of you weren't here, so I'm going to do it again. Last week I told you that before Barack Obama and the atonement that this nation had for the racist philosophy and the racist past that we have had, and it's true, there's racism everywhere in this country. It's not a matter that there's not racism, but what I'm saying is we voted, and Democrats voted for a fellow that they did not agree with, but they wanted to make history. And you know, it's hard for us to digest and disagree with such a historical moment in this country. But this time, and what I'm going to say about when Al Gore and George Bush went head-to-head before the black president, before the black candidate, where we as a white, guilt-laden nation voted for a candidate who we thought was going to bring remedy. I mean, I didn't vote for him because I'm a conservative Republican. But that's okay. We had some Republicans who crossed over and voted for hope and change that they didn't get, by the way. But here's what I'm saying about the 12th Amendment, and you've got to understand this no matter what color you are, no matter what your philosophy is, no matter if you're Democrat or Republican, you better understand that if we have an election as close as Al Gore versus George W. Bush, do you remember how many electors each of them had? Bush had 271 electors. Had there been a third-party candidate, folks, had there been a third-party candidate, which I believe will happen this election, that got 3 electors, had we had a third-party candidate then who got 3 electors, and this is with Florida staying as it was, then Al Gore would have been president through the 12th Amendment. Because the Democrats controlled the House at that time. The House elects a president when no candidate achieves 270 electors. Now, here's what I'm saying. I think we go back to those demographics because unless Ben Carson wins, we're not going to have a black president for us to vote for atonement for. Because there's still a lot of racism going on. It's there. But what I'm saying is, this country sacrificed an awful lot to abolish the institution of slavery, but we could not do that with racism. It is still there. But here's the thing. If this election happens the way I predict it will, nobody's going to get 270 electors. If that happens, if you believe that happens, if Donald Trump sort of gets mad at the Republican Party and goes to a third party, and he gets 3 electors, just 3, we go back to the demographics of Democrat and Republican where nobody gets 270. It throws it into the House, and this is the nightmare that I spoke about. We have a Republican-controlled House. Bill Winnick did the demographics of this. Under that situation, Jeb Bush becomes president. And I will work tooth and toenail to oppose that. Tea Party conservative, Republican opposing Jeb Bush? Oh yeah, yeah, you can mark me down for that. You can mark me down for that.
Now what if Trump's the nominee? Do you think
If Trump's the nominee, I do believe, yes, you nailed it. Because I don't think they're going to give this up. The military-industrial complex who sends our men and women to war and builds the war-making machines that facilitates those wars, they're not going to give up their war. They're not going to let, what's his name from Vermont? The Democrat?
Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders. They're not going to let Bernie Sanders become president, and they're not going to let Donald Trump become president. If Jeb Bush does not get the nomination, he will go third party. Believe me. You're hearing you're saying it's incredible, won't happen?
Jeb Bush?
Yes, I believe if he doesn't get the nomination, the military-industrial complex who want war will put him in the third party, because if he does that, he still becomes president under the 12th Amendment. So I'm putting a plan out to you by which they get their man in. This is the reason I support Carly. Because if we work for her and get her nominated, she can overcome the 12th Amendment nightmare. Because her against Hillary, she's going to win. Anybody else against Hillary is going to be a tie. And it's going to go into the House.
So,
go ahead, Joe.
What if Carly's a nominee and we got a third-party candidate, we have the same scenario?
No. What I say is she has the favorabilities to where her numbers can increase enough to overcome the 12th Amendment nightmare. I say, if you hear me say it, it's what I think.
Even if Bush is running?
Yes, even if Bush is running, I think Carly is successful enough because we're going to get the women support that were the moderate Democrats. They're going to cross over because, and they're going to vote in a general election, they're going to vote for Carly. They're going to vote for Carly. I'm going to tell you that I'm going to be like Donald Trump. I'm going to tell you. He likes that. He likes that. I'm going to tell you as if my credibility is the only thing that matters. I'm going to tell you that Carly Fiorina will get the women's vote that had shifted to Hillary. But Hillary's numbers are going down, but they're still strong enough, folks, to where you better not misunderestimate her. You better not, because this Benghazi, these emails, I'm going to tell you, the FBI is not going to let the content of those emails out until after the election. And then she will have, the scenario, listen, in a minute, Joe. Jeb Bush becomes president under this scenario, 12th Amendment. Guess who becomes vice president? You've got Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton to choose from. Who is the Senate going to choose? Because that's the 12th Amendment. The Senate chooses, by count, 50 votes, 100 votes. It only takes 51 votes in the Senate to choose the vice president. With Donald Trump, because it's the top 3 elector getters, that's the way the 12th Amendment's written. The top 3. So you got Hillary and Donald Trump left. The Senate, and there's a reason they will choose Hillary Clinton. She will get executive privilege. Same thing that Bill Clinton had all the time. And all the Benghazi cover-ups and all of the reason that people are jumping off this ship like rats. Everybody's resigning in Washington. It's the emails, folks, because they're complicit with the petrodollar bargaining and the complicity of all that's going on over there in the Middle East. We've got Republicans and Democrats who have betrayed this country. And that's the reason that nobody wants to take the House leadership. Because the
hammer's coming down.
The hammer is coming down. But in order for a lot of people not to be prosecuted, along with Hillary Clinton, she has to be in the White House. Because then she gets executive privilege. And then she does not have to, she doesn't have to give the information over. We know that works, don't we? The reason that we know it works, Bill Clinton did it for a lot of years. All of the crimes in Arkansas, all of those crimes in Arkansas couldn't get at them because of executive privilege. And here's what you have. You have two Clintons in the White House. Vice President and maybe Secretary of State. Maybe Bill Clinton becomes the Secretary of State. Whether he does or he doesn't, he's going to be President-in-Chief in the hallways, and all those interns are going to watch out. It's a low blow, but I had to take it.
Yeah, low blow.
Joe, go ahead.
That's why I think Trump is going to get a lot of crossover votes. Because
if he sticks it out, yes he
his
will.
numbers are so high.
He's got a lot of Democrats supporting him. I agree with you there, Joe.
And initially it was because of his brashness and outspokenness and all that. But now he is viewed as the anti-establishment candidate.
Absolutely, but here's where I disagree.
And here you've got constituents on both sides of the aisle that are pissed off with the establishment. And they want to
Rightly so.
I think you make the mistake, and it's just me doing the thinking here, I think you make the mistake of thinking Donald Trump is going to take the pay cut. I don't think he really wants to become president. I think he wants to be the kingmaker.
Don't you think he wants what's best for this country?
No.
You
I don't think he
wants to
does.
make America great again?
The only reason, he wants America great again.
Great again.
But he wants America great so that he can become greater. His ego is nothing
Well,
like...
yeah, he's got an ego. But anybody's got to have an ego if they're going to run for president.
Okay, we're going to get onto the video, but at least you know my position. Anybody who comes out on the stage, gives the flag a hug, points at it, and says, is using this flag for a prop. That's what he did. And then, folks, he did it with the Bible. He brought the Bible to the Conservative Value Convention. But he didn't bring it to the other conventions. So I'm just telling you that I don't trust Donald Trump. And I don't think he's going to want to be president. So we'll see about that. I know he has a lot of people convinced.
I don't think he wants to.
I just think he has a lot of people will disagree with me. But, you know, we're going to see. Now, we're going to see this video. We're going to hear Carly, and I want you to tell me what is different about her and the things Donald's saying, and the things Ben is saying, and the things Ted is saying.